Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. The cry is not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. The raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Nothing's worrying me.
Come here, Mr. Riley. Thank you for greeting our audience for us.
Hey everybody. Hey.
Good morning. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. We've got food and we've got
These are our special guests for today.
right. So hi, I'm Ethan.
I'm Michael.
We're Ethan and Michael.
Vegan Mos.
We're also the Vegan Mos.
Hey.
And
Welcome to episode 2.
yes,
Us,
episode
the Big
2.
Gay Brunch.
Now, if you all remember, I'm just pulling up my notes here because, you know, I don't function without notes, right? First of all, what are we eating?
What are we eating today? We kept it simple today. Avocado toast.
Avocado toast. Now, we have 2 different types of avocado toast. Gosh.
You go fancy.
I go fancy. What you just mashed it up on?
And
We're having the same bread.
Yeah, just multi-grain bread from Whole Foods. Just mashed avocado. I've just got some tomato, a little gray salt on it, and just a splash of paprika. Regular paprika.
Bad vegan. I have mine mashed up, and I sprinkled it with nooch. And for those of you who don't know what nooch is nutritional yeast, which really they call it nooch because nutritional yeast sounds disgusting, but it's so good. And it's, aside from having like B vitamins and being really healthy, it gives things like a cheesy flavor and like yellow. It's really good. So I put that on. And then I use this thing that David and Alex gave us like over 2 years ago. It's gonna last me until I'm like probably dead. It's this huge salt canister of Mediterranean spices. I put that on, and I've got my really delicious tomatoes and Hungarian. So obviously we have to have paprika, but mine's smoked paprika, and so that's where we're at. So let's try it and see how we. I mean, we know how we like it, right? All right.
Such a good, quick, easy.
That's a good avocado.
It really is.
Oh my god. We're eating and talking with our mouth full.
Sorry. So this you can make at home in just a matter of moments. Please do not go somewhere and spend $12 on avocado toast.
Unless it's at Starbucks, in which case we want to drive demand there. They actually have a pretty decent avocado toast. And our local one, there's a local chain of coffee shops here in the city called Think Coffee. I think it's a good idea to have coffee. Speaking of which, but Think Coffee does this really. It's not a day without coffee. But talking about Think Coffee, they're actually like really good. They're sourcing it ethically. They're doing really good stuff and giving back to the communities who farm the coffee for them. And anyway, they're having avocado toast available.
Yes, they are.
So, yay.
It's everywhere in New York right now, but make it at home. It's easy.
So I'm looking at the screenshot and I can see that Riley's in it. Unfortunately, Charlie is not. However,
I'm sure he will eventually.
He will eventually, but like this is what happens when we eat.
When there is food involved, they are a captive audience.
You might notice that last week we mentioned that our coming guests were going to be our friends Joshua Catcher and James Caroni, and they're not here with us. This is why we're in our pajamas and hanging out on a rainy day. I mean, this is a nor'easter.
Yeah, we are getting. It hasn't fully started yet. But
it's so gross out already, and it's hard to believe that the bulk of the rain is just like an hour away. So, and that's when it starts to really kick up and wind and everything like that. So, we are hunkered down. I feel for them. So there was a scheduling error and total honest mistake on their part. And we look forward to having them back on the show when they are in their new digs. That's actually why they couldn't do it. They're moving
So they're
today.
moving during a nor'easter.
I feel so bad for these guys. Guys, if you're watching, good luck.
Good luck.
And we'll have you back here soon.
Do you remember where we were 5 years ago today?
5 years ago today. 5 years ago would be
October 29th.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh! Superstorm Sandy.
Today's 5 years from Superstorm Sandy. So
Wow.
yeah,
Oh wow, we're old.
we are.
Whoa. Okay. We were living in Maplewood, New Jersey. We were watching the brook in the back of our house rise.
We lost an 85-year-old oak tree.
Yep, fell right down across the street. It was such a mess.
It was rough.
Anyway, these are first world problems.
They are very much so. So anyway, we hope you all are having a good Sunday so far, and you've got your breakfast, lunch, brunch item of choice and the beverage.
How was your week, Michael?
It was really good this week. We tried a new restaurant this week with our friends Liz and Nick. We went to ABCV, which is the vegetarian/vegan restaurant opened by, here's Charlie, by Jean-Georges Valjean, I think is how his name is pronounced.
I can't. Not Valjean. That's from Les Miserables.
Jean Valjean, you're right. Sorry, because there's a store in New York City called ABC Home or ABC Carpet and Home.
Mm-hmm. Home and carpet.
Home and Carpet.
That gay.
That's where our carpet. I just know that's where our carpet came from. Anyway, so they also have 2 restaurants associated with themselves, and they just opened a third one, ABCV, which is vegetarian. Most of the items on the menu are vegan already, and the ones that aren't can be made vegan.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Like very chill. It's a block and a half from our office, which is really scary.
Yeah.
But really good, very vegetable focused, vegetable centered cooking.
Yeah,
really delicious tastes. Incredible stuff. And we had such a great dinner, and we were so taken by the experience of eating, and like we were all together and just really into our conversation because we love you.
We actually didn't take pictures of
Liz
it.
and Nick, we love you both, but we didn't take any pictures.
Yeah, bad vegan bloggers. Sorry.
Sorry, we'll do it next time because
But
there is a next time.
There will be a next time. The food is absolutely amazing. Liz actually did take out her camera and was taking pictures,
She
but
did.
we
She's
were
a
just
good
in that,
vegan.
you know what? We just want to sit here and enjoy a meal for a change and not worry about photographing. We promise we will go back and photograph and tell you all about it on the blog.
And tell us what happened with Liz, what she told us when we were there.
Oh yes,
Bad vegan.
Oh my gosh, yes. This is not just vegan. This is like food pastries. So apparently they are open early in the morning, and they have pain au chocolat. And Liz told us that
As well as regular croissant.
as well as regular croissant as well. And Liz, who when it comes to pastries and food
And sweets.
and sweets, if she tells you something is good, believe her.
She's my soul sister on that one.
Absolutely.
100%.
So
So
she's
she's like, oh, they're really great. She's like, have you tried the ones at Commissary? And Commissary, for those of you who don't know, is up in New Paltz. Really cute little town that you can drive through on your way to Woodstock Farm Sanctuary. Been there before, but I haven't tried.
We've never been there early in the day.
Early in the day to get their croissant. And so she had like this idea that their croissant are pretty much the
Their
same?
croissant, the plain croissant are right on par with one another, but the chocolate croissant, she says, is actually a little bit better at ABCV.
Okay, so
We need to do a taste test.
So it was like I had a patient cancel on, I think it was Thursday morning.
Yes.
And everyone's sort of running around doing their Thursday morning thing. I said, oh, I just need to go run an errand. I'll be right back. No one asks when the doctor leaves the office because everyone's happy when the doctor leaves the office. And so I walk out, I run out to ABCV, pick up like 3 chocolate croissants because they didn't have regular croissants, so we have to go back for that. And brought them back to the office. Like our associate, the other doctor in the office, Dr. Collins, he looks at me and he's like, no. Like, no, I'm trying to be good. And I'm like, this is good, it's vegan. But I'm glad he knows that that's not entirely a true statement.
But wow, that was seriously...
I haven't had a chocolate croissant like that. And we had one from Brooklyn Whiskers over here, which was
quite
delicious.
good.
But they have really just nailed the flaky, crusty,
it was
buttery.
croissant.
It was so buttery that when I opened up the bag and just checked to make sure I was taking the right thing home to the office, I actually turned to the person and said, I'm sorry, I just need to verify, these are vegan. They're like, absolutely vegan. I'm like, they just smell like, and she cut me off and she goes, butter. I'm like, yeah. She goes, it's not butter.
I mean, there's seriously, I have not had a chocolate croissant that good and
Really incredible.
really, really amazing. So that was, I'd say the dinner there was fantastic, but the croissant 2 days later as a surprise mid-morning treat was absolutely the highlight of the week.
Yeah.
Well, there was another highlight actually.
What?
Yesterday.
Oh yeah, yesterday we went to Hallow Woodstock. That was really fun.
That was a lot of fun because there a couple weeks ago.
Hallow Woodstock is the Woodstock celebration at Woodstock Farm Sanctuary, and it's the last weekend of October because it coincides with Halloween, which is next week. And lots of kids were dressing up, lots of adults were dressing up.
It was really fun.
Food, they had a bouncy house for the kids, they had all this fun stuff, and lots of animals to play with and see and visit and learn about. And and it's the last visiting week of the year, and so like it's sort of a way to close off the visiting season because it starts to get cold. Well, and before climate change, it used to get really cold up in upstate New York. It was 71 degrees.
We were in short sleeves yesterday.
We had short sleeves upstate in New York yesterday. Yesterday was what, the 28th, and it was 71 degrees and sunny. We were actually perspiring a little bit.
It was a gorgeous day.
It was beautiful. And we had a really great time. And then on our way home, we were actually...
Why was it so good though? For me,
I'm sorry. Yeah, you have to tell this.
So, a couple weeks ago, actually it's more than a couple weeks at this point, Woodstock rescued a family of pigs, Mama and her 4 babies, because the 5th baby who came to Woodstock first unfortunately did not make it.
Yeah, there was somebody who...
his name was Hurley.
Yeah, the pig's name was Hurley.
Yes.
There was an individual who was keeping these pigs in horrifically terrible, unsanitary, unkind, uncompassionate, abusive conditions. And if you go to Woodstock's website, you can read the story. It's heartbreaking, but it's got a really happy ending here. So the whole family got rescued.
The whole family got rescued, and Ethan, unbeknownst to me, sponsored one of the little piglets, and he is named for me. He is my namesake. His name is Mishka.
And the reason that he's named Mishka
is because at the sanctuary there's a rule that you can't have 2 animals of the same species with the same name. And there already is a pig there named Michael.
Who was actually rescued in another abuse situation, rescued with his family, I want to say like 2 years ago this week.
So when I started taking Russian in high school, my name in my Russian class was Misha. The diminutive or Mike form of that is Mishka. So my cousin Karen, hey Rooney if you're watching, she started calling me Mishka. She just thought it was really cute. So there's now a little pig up there named Mishka, and I finally got to meet him yesterday.
And if you go check out his Instagram,
he's so cute.
His Instagram is mgsuch1. Oh my gosh,
Their
pictures are adorable.
Yeah.
They're ridiculous. I say that because I took them, but they are adorable.
But yeah, he's a sweet little guy, and the whole family is really awesome.
But we had a really interesting thing. So we were heading home. It was a beautiful day. We had a dog walker who was actually able to stay and take the dogs out for dinner and everything like that. So we thought, why don't we just go out to dinner? And there's this place up in Tarrytown, New York, which is like 45 minutes north of the city, right by what used to be the Tappan Zee Bridge. Mm-hmm. It's now the Mario M. Cuomo
It's
Bridge.
still the Tappan Zee Bridge.
It'll always be the Tappan Zee Bridge. Anyway, there's this place there. It's not a vegan restaurant, but it's called Sweet Grass. I think it's Grill. Sweet Grass Grill, and they have a lot of vegan options. They've put a tremendous number of they've apparently got like buffalo tempeh wings and stuff like that. So okay, we've got to try this out. We have made an earnest 2 or 3 attempts to go there, and it's either been closed or whatever it was. Yesterday we're like, oh, this is perfect. We can just go and do this. So we're going over the bridge. It's the new Tappan Zee Bridge, which is the Governor Mario Cuomo Bridge, and we're going across it. That just doesn't. The Tappan Zee Bridge. And so we're going across, and we're like, oh, we're just going to Tarrytown. I'll be there in 10 minutes. And we get in, and it was probably the most insane,
it was painful
detour I've ever seen. They've apparently closed down all of downtown at the time that we arrived. And of course, this restaurant is downtown. And so there was literally no way to get even within a mile of the restaurant because all these people were doing like a town.
It was, they did Halloween last night because apparently you're allowed to change the dates of holidays, which I did not know. So I think tomorrow we should celebrate, Christmas or something.
Sure.
Just if you're allowed to change a date. No, Halloween is the 31st.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a little bit.
It was frustrating.
It was frustrating, and after about 15 minutes of trying to get
further
around
and further away
because we couldn't get closer and closer, and we're like, all right, let's go do some shopping at Whole Foods, and then we'll eat at the salad bar and go home.
Right.
And that's what we did. So I wanted to get this cute little zip up, which you too can get if you go onto Woodstock's website. And it just says Woodstock Farm Sanctuary, right? So I thought.
So you thought.
But then I check it out and I look at the back, and let me just turn around here so everyone can see that it says,
Vegan.
Go Vegan.
Go vegan.
There you go.
Sorry.
It says Go Vegan. And so, I believe in message wear, as this is one of my favorite message wears.
I get more compliments on this particular one. It's by Shirt Activism.
It really freaks people out, and it should. So it's a good way to start a conversation with somebody who might want to. It's, a little in your face for some people who might want to still stay complacent in their cognitive dissonance about what they're doing. So we're standing there in the produce aisle, and these two women come up to us. Comes up to me, and the older of the two looks at me, and she says,
She's very timid.
Very timid.
shy.
She goes, "Are you vegan?" And I said, "I am." And she said, "Any tips?" I go, "Tips about what?" And she goes, "How to be vegan." I said, "Oh, that's really simple. Just stop eating animals and stop using them." And she goes, "Just stop eating animals."
She
didn't think it was that simple. And she's like, "Okay, but then what about like what do you eat?" And so I said, "Well, what do you eat?" And we started this whole conversation. It must have gone on for about 20 or 25 minutes in the produce aisle. People were actually watching this conversation, and it was an opportunity to really engage her. She's a nurse. And
if you're watching, hi Courtney.
Hi Courtney. And it was a really interesting experience of being able to advocate for the animals in a Whole Foods because of something you're wearing. So for those people who say, "Oh, I don't like to wear message wear, I don't like to wear things like that," you know what? You may not have the interaction, and 9 times out of 10 we don't. My God, I have that vegan T-shirt.
Oh, you're just getting glared at.
I have a vegan T-shirt that says it's the same lettering as Harvard, and it says vegan, and then it says defend the innocent, and I get angry looks when I wear that, and it's all right because you're not really angry at me, you're angry at the idea. Maybe you're angry that I'm making you think about the idea, but in the end, that's what this is all about. It's about trying to get the invisible seen. That's all it's about.
Yeah, all because of these detours, and then wearing the sweatshirt, we helped these two women.
Yeah, they literally were very.
They were taking notes. They were very much engaged in this. So, just meet people where they are.
And really, sometimes a little joke like that. I think if I had said, "Well, just stop eating animals," I think that would have probably turned them off, right? But if I said it with a big smile, as I did, and said, "Just stop eating animals," that's how you do it. That's my tip. It can sometimes disarm someone. So remember, there's always an opportunity to open a dialogue, and stuff like this can sometimes help. So should we move on to some news from this week?
Let's tackle a little
because
bit
there's
of
a
news
really
from this
disturbing
week.
news story, and I'm taking out my computer because I'm old and I can't keep turning away. I'm sorry that I'm going to have my computer on my lap. This is actually a news story that I saw last week, maybe 5 minutes after we went off the air, and I've been sort of going crazy wanting to talk about it all week. There was some really disturbing news out of Chechnya, and for those of you who don't know where Chechnya is, don't worry, that just makes you American. Did I say that? I'm sorry. So Chechnya is a former Soviet republic. It's a part of the Russian Federation, and it's an independent republic. It's hard to explain, but they are basically beholden in many ways to Vladimir Putin.
They're like a protectorate, I guess.
Yeah, they're part of the Federation. And so since March actually of this past year, so now we're going on 7 months of this, they've been rounding up men who are either gay or presumed to be gay, right? So if somebody just says, "Oh, that kid over there, he's gay," I know. They round them up and they're putting them in concentration camps. This is happening in the 21st century in a former Soviet republic of Chechnya. And so anyway, and we know for a fact that 3 men of the over 100, maybe hundreds they speculate, have already been killed.
Yeah, those are just the ones we know of.
Those are the ones we know of because information is very hard to get there, and because information is they are the kings of disinformation. And if you're not aware of what I'm talking about, you're not watching the news. But the really interesting part about this and disturbing part is there is a pop singer. So he's been living in Moscow. He is Chechen. He's 25 years old. And I'm going to butcher this name. I'm so sorry. His name is Zelim Bakayev. Did I get it right? I practiced this.
Bakayev.
Yeah, so it's Zelim Bakayev. And he's 25. He was 25 years old. And I said he is believed to have been killed in
one of these
concentration camps. So he had apparently gone back to his home in Grozny for a very brief trip back in August. On August 6th, he went back because he went to his sister's wedding. His whole family's still back in Grozny. He's been pursuing his pop career in Moscow. Very popular guy. He's got beautiful music. I was listening to it, and I don't understand what he was singing, but it was really beautiful. And he was arrested like 2 days later by these ridiculous people. Chechnya is an extremely conservative country. It happens to be a conservative and Muslim country, and he went missing, and it was reported that he might have been rounded up and put into these gay concentration camps. And what ended up happening is that his mother started asking for help. Everyone started sort of like saying what happened to him. And the government there, of the Chechen president, who is Ramzan Kadyrov, this is a homophobe like you've never seen. Like, this is a guy who plays we don't have gay people in our country, we're gonna exterminate them. Like, this is pure on, full on homophobic Nazi behavior. They were denying it. And then here's where it gets really weird. So then his mother starts appealing to her president, saying, hey, my son's been rounded up. And they say, oh, no, he was in Germany. He's fine, he moved to Germany. And then they released this video, and I watched it on YouTube. You can look at it too. It's all in Russian or Chechen, and I don't understand what the lettering says, but the body language is so clear. This guy was being coerced into making this video, being forced to look like, oh yeah, I'm living this new life and I'm really happy. People are scrutinizing the video, and they're finding things that the electrical outlets are not ones that you would find in Germany, they're ones you'd find in Chechnya. He's drinking a soda beverage that is apparently unique to there. If you're trying to make this look like it was German, it's clear that the Chechens don't have the Russians' intelligence capacity, and they don't know how to cover up a murder the way that the Russians do. So he made this video, they released it. Lots of people were like, whoa, this is super suspicious. And in the end, it was reported last week that there are reliable sources on the ground who have been in contact with or observation of these concentration camps for men who are gay or suspected to be gay. And he was killed like days after making that video, months ago. And this is a big deal. He is a cultural icon. He is a pop sensation in Russia. And he was presumably, from all accounts that I can tell, a gay man, and gay men are being killed. The United Nations has spoken out against this. The President of the United States has not. In fact, he and his administration are waging a campaign against LGBT people in this country, so it's not surprising. But it's disappointing because 12 months ago, the President of the United States would have been leading the charge on this and speaking forcefully to this kind of absolute human rights abuse. And you should get involved, you should learn more, and whether you are gay, bi, lesbian, queer, transgender, or you're a straight ally, or any other part of the rainbow, we're all human beings. And what happened to this young man is...
it's horrible.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
If we lived in Chechnya, we'd be rounded up, and we probably would have just been shot.
Imagine if Ricky Martin were just one day just suddenly taken to a camp and killed simply because he was gay.
This is exactly what I was thinking.
This is the same thing.
It's the same thing, and it's really devastating. So please write to your local representatives. We need a grassroots movement in this country to protect LGBT people. Because if we can't get the work done here and we're still struggling here, how are we going to help our brothers and sisters around the world?
Absolutely.
How about some good
But
LGBT
some
news
good LGBT news.
that I'm gonna eat?
Yes, you eat. So, last week I shared a good animal story out of California, courtesy of Governor Jerry Brown. Well, we've got an LGBTQ story right out of California, courtesy of Governor Jerry Brown. So, the state of California will now legally recognize non-binary as a third gender on official state identification documents.
So we have male.
Male, female, and then non-binary. And they're just using non-binary, I'm going to want to read this so I get it correctly, is a catch-all term for people who do not identify as exclusively male or female.
So like if you're genderqueer.
If you're genderqueer, if you're just kind of gender fluid, if you don't want to specifically say I am male or female, this is what you can do.
I think it's a great first step.
It's a fantastic first step. It's the first step in, as the Rick Zbur, S-B-U-R, Zbur, the executive director of Equality California, said that it puts California at the forefront of ensuring dignity and safety of its transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming residents.
Mm.
And so when your ID doesn't match your gender identity or expression, it can expose you to some really difficult, dangerous situations. If you're someone who's going to be transitioning and you are listed as male or female on your ID,
And you don't
transition, it could be a big problem. Whereas if you're listed as non-binary, it makes it much easier from a legal documentation perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I will say, I think it's a first step.
It is a first step.
Because when you think about the term non-binary is a way of taking a huge group of people and saying, you don't fit into our binary dominant.
You're outside the norm.
The norm is still binary. It's sort of like, I stopped using the word non-human as much as I possibly can, because I used to talk about non-human animals way back in my early advocacy days. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, because it does remind us that humans are animals. But I feel like to define animals still in the context of humans is just uncool. So I don't like to use that term because I don't want to define animals as being non-human or human, because human still becomes the baseline, and that's a very anthropocentric way of sort of looking at the world. Same way, like non-binary. So I love the idea that we could have 100 designations for gender one day.
Yes. But so this is actually called the Gender Recognition Act in California, which is kind of a cool name. But in June, the District of Columbia followed the lead of Oregon, and they began offering the gender-neutral choice of just a simple X on your driver's licenses and identification cards. And similar legislation is actually pending in New York. So if you live in New York, please reach out to your state representatives and senators. Tell them that you support this. They need to hear from us.
Yeah.
This is how you can actually help other people be more comfortable with who they are.
Yeah. And we have a really fun local news story that has to do with sort of veganism and all of that. Our last news item for today. Mayor de Blasio on Monday held a news conference at PS1, which is Brooklyn's, New York City's first all-vegetarian school, public school, and announced that 15 New York City public schools, I believe all of them are in Brooklyn, will be doing Meatless Mondays. This is really exciting. And he also announced that Gracie Mansion is going to follow suit, and they're going to be doing Meatless Mondays as well. If you don't know what Meatless Mondays is, check out meatlessmondays.com. It's a program to get people to start eating more plant-based, and you pick Mondays, and you just basically have a vegan day, and they give you lots of fun recipes and stuff like that.
And that's how I started going vegan.
Yeah, you did.
Mondays.
Meatless Mondays started you on your path,
Yeah.
because I certainly didn't. This was a cause that was championed by Brooklyn Borough President, incoming, who's here?
Hey, Mr. Charlie.
Sit down, don't wake up your brother. Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, who is vegan, and he is the president of our borough here in Brooklyn. 2.6 million of us, that's crazy. And he went vegan, he went plant-based and became vegan because he had type 2 diabetes and was really almost lost his eyesight because of his diabetes. And so he made a really good comment saying that, we're digging our graves with our spoons and our forks, and it's difficult to move the needle in the right direction. But we're going to look back on this day, and we're going to reflect on the changing direction of not only Brooklyn, not only New York, but the globe. And this is a really, really big deal. New York City public school system is one of the largest public school systems in the country, if not the largest, I would think. And the fact that they've got 15 schools that are now going to be engaging in Meatless Mondays, and here's the part that I'm personally really gratified about. The Healthy School Food Coalition, who held their fundraiser, we told you about it last week, they had their fundraiser this week, their gala, it was really wonderful.
Really
we had a great time. They've been working with our borough president, Adams, as well as the mayor's office, and they got 1,200 New York City public schools to agree to commit to offering one vegan school lunch food item every day.
That's huge.
That's 1,200 schools in New York City that are going to be offering vegan food for kids. And if you go and you look up under Healthy School Food Coalition on their healthyschoolfood.org, or if you go to Meatless Mondays, or you Google any of this information, what you'll really begin to realize, especially over at PS1, kids do better when they're not eating animal products. Like they function better. They test higher in schools. Their brains are functioning better. They literally are getting themselves to a place of greater performance and greater achievement. Kids don't get that afternoon slump. They don't sort of disappear in the afternoon because they just had a huge
they're not
thing of meat.
Splanked?
It's my turn.
I know that is your turn.
It's my turn.
We've been together a while.
I know we have. So that's not a real term. That's
really?
No. So your splanchnic circulation is a term about the circulation that goes to your stomach and helps with digestion. And when you get a lot of food there, you get what's called splanchnic pooling, because blood starts to go to your digestive system to help break down food and whatnot. And that's why some people can sometimes feel tired afterwards, because you've got
your food
blood.
Coma.
You're in a food coma. Blood is shunting to your blood, so I call it splanked. That was my term.
Huh.
Ha. Anyway, splanked is, splank doesn't happen when you're vegan or vegetarian. Well, it does happen on a vegetarian diet. But when they say vegetarian, they actually do mean vegan. That's a whole other conversation, and we're not going to have it here. Anyway, we don't have a whole lot more, and we don't want this show to go on forever. And it's a nice, cozy, quiet day, and we're going to just chill here with the dogs. And
so next week, though, we do have a guest lined up.
And he is confirmed.
He is absolutely confirmed, and he actually did try to swing his schedule so he could make it today, but it just did not work out.
And that's totally fine. It's our good friend, vegan activist and artist, musician extraordinaire, Michael Herron. And we're really excited to hear what he's up to.
If you have not heard his music, you should look up, it's called The Animal Show. Truly brilliant. Yeah,
it's going to be really, really amazing. And he's going to be telling us about it. It's going to be happening here in New York the week after. So that'll be next week.
Yeah.
Wow, that's next week. After he's been here. Yep. And a little note for us, for those of you watching in the Atlanta, Georgia area, or for those of you who are...
if you know people in Atlanta.
If you know people in Atlanta, or if you might be traveling to Atlanta for the Atlanta Veg Fest, which is going to be taking place on Saturday, November 11th, Veterans Day.
How do you know that November 11th is Veterans Day?
Because it's my friend Laura's birthday, and her birthday is Veterans Day.
There you go.
That's why.
So there you go.
We will be down there. The lovely people at the Atlanta Veg Fest are flying us down and having us do a cooking demonstration. We'll be doing a cooking demo at 11:30 a.m. and we will be doing one of our recipes from NYC Vegan, our cookbook. We will be there afterwards. I think our presentation is like from 11:30 to 12:30, and then for a very short while afterwards, maybe like 15, 20 minutes, half hour, we'll be selling and signing copies of cookbooks, meeting people, and if you're in the area or think you might be in the area, please come down and see us. We want to see you. It's going to be such a fun day. These Veg Fests are amazing days for community, and
you can get your little message wear.
You can get a lot of message wear there. And sorry, that was just me dealing with
that was the drum roll announcing the upcoming end of the episode.
Yes, and that was it as well, right?
Yes.
But I don't know. We're I think we're good.
We're good, so hopefully you
You're
guys
good.
have a great rest of your Sunday, and you'll be back to join us again next week. If you have any questions or comments or want to share stuff with us, you can always email us at biggaybrunch@veganmos.com,
Yep.
and hopefully we will see you again really soon.
And if you're in New York, just stay nice and dry.
Stay dry.
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy's feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to